Welcome back to High Noon, everybody. My name is Andrew Love, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about fantasies. We're going to be talking about why are fantasies so enticing? Why do we love escaping reality so much that we can create something like Pornhub? You see, humanity gives billions of hours of time each year to Pornhub simply because we don't know how to deal with our life. So if you want to understand the inner workings of fantasies, what we're getting out of it, but also what we're losing every time we participate in fantasies and avoid reality, then this is the video for you. It's gonna so much help you, so much. So let's get into it. Alright, so let's get into this. This is a really important topic to understand. And I want you to really hear me out, and if you need to, watch this video again until it really sinks in. If you can manage fantasy with reality, then all of a sudden, you'll be able to enjoy your life as it is instead of trying to escape it like so many people. You see, that's all porn is. It's an escape from life. That's why so many people go to porn when they're stressed out, when their life feels unmanageable, when if they're in school, they feel like, I don't know how to deal with all these assignments that I have. When they should be doing homework, they're escaping to porn. When they don't know how to deal with certain relationships in their life. It's just like, I can't deal with life, let me jump headfirst into this fantasy land where I can control things. And that's the whole point with porn. It's a la carte. Porn is something, especially in this digital age when everything's high speed, we have so much of everything at our fingertips, you can pick and choose the exact type of porn that you watch. And that's super enticing when you can't control anything else in reality. You want to go to a place where you can control everything. And that's why people love porn, because you can choose what type of porn you watch, how long you want to watch it for, and if something's boring you, you just go to the next thing. And it's the exact opposite of growth-centered reality. In reality, you can't control that much. You can't control who your neighbors are per se. You can't control how other people react to you. All you can control is how you experience life, and that's hard. In order to really be a happy person continually, it takes a lot of effort. And so it's increasingly more the case with all of these insane things happening in the world, with wars, the pandemic, right? It's like all this pressure. And it's driving so many people to the point of insanity because they don't know how to deal with all these emotions and all these thoughts. Are we all gonna die? Am I gonna die? What's happening? Is this politician evil or is it this one? Are they all evil? And then it just starts to feel so intense that you're like, screw it, let's just go watch porn. Pun kind of intended. And while you're in porn, what are you looking for? Right? When you're scrolling, you think you're looking for some perfect image that's gonna make you feel a certain way. It's not that image, it's what that image represents. You're trying to look at something beautiful and you're so repelled by all the chaos in your life. That's all it is. If you can think of it as two magnetic opposites, there's attraction which pulls you, and that's like, you know, porn, because it's like so perfect and aesthetic and just packaged ready for you. And then there's life, which is chaotic, and that can be very repellent. And that's what happens when you have very little internal character development. When you are internally very immature, then chaos repels you and fake attractive things attract you. Somebody who really works on themselves discovers that actually when life is difficult, that's when you're able to grow the most, and that's when you can develop yourself into the person you actually want to be. That chaos, in a sense, is a gift. It will help to develop you into the person that you actually want to be. Whereas escaping to fantasy land will only delay your suffering. I was thinking about this. Why is it that more and more women are getting into watching porn, but also producing their own porn? We have things like OnlyFans, we have Pornhub, where now you're not just a professional porn actress, it's just everyday people are getting into porn. And it's this new revolution that, in my opinion, is completely destroying many people's lives because they're incriminating themselves. When you put yourself online, that's forever. You don't own yourself anymore. When you put yourself onto these websites, you don't own those images. And Pornhub, you can see, is going through several lawsuits right now because if content is uploaded onto that site, that individual no longer has the rights to their own face, to their own body. They've lost the privilege in that website. It's crazy. So why are so many women doing this? Typically in the porn worldview, what you'll notice is that it's about domination. And especially it's about men dominating women. So why would women ever want to participate in this? Well, it actually all goes back to fantasy. And I'm talking about the majority. I know there's many bisexual, transgender, all sorts of different types of porn, but the vast majority of the porn consumed is men dominating women. Okay, so that's why I'm talking in these terms. But the women seem to be getting the worst deal out of this whole exchange, right? They're just getting used and abused. So why would they want to participate in this? Well, because fantasy is such a strong, compelling, fake version of love when it happens in the moment. After it disappears and the spell wears off, it becomes very obvious, wow, that was not really love. But in the moment, fantasy actually really feels like love. So in the case of porn, to be lusted after by men actually feels like love in the moment for women, because the man has fantasized for so long about something, and when they find a woman who represents that, it's like the man has fallen in love with the fantasy, and it's like a template that they can put onto any woman. And so when they hone in that fantasy onto a woman, then all of a sudden that woman becomes the object of their desire. And it's not the woman, it's what they represent, their fantasy. They are now enacting a fantasy. So all of this time and energy that they've spent, investing into this fantasy is now personified in this woman. And they're exuding the perfection of this fantasy. And so they love what's inside that woman, which is the fantasy, what's all around that woman, but they're not loving the woman. But it feels like when somebody's looking at you like lovingly and they're pursuing you with great desire and vigor, it feels like love. So in that sense, it feels like love for a very momentary time. But again, once that spell wears off, after they've used and abused that woman, there's nothing left. They don't need them anymore. And that fantasy can then live on in the body of many other women. I hope you can understand what I'm saying here. It seems like love for both parties in that time. And now I want to talk about the guys in this situation. You see, when you experience a woman who represents something close to your fantasy, it gives you these tingles because, again, this fantasy has been your safe place. It's been your happy place for so long that when you find somebody to enact this fantasy, it's like they're opening the gates between this fake world and the real world, and for a moment, it's like they're one. Your fantasy and your reality become one, and they're the gatekeepers. So they represent so much, so it's like you love them. It's like you're infatuated with them. But again, after the act, it all goes away. It all completely disappears. So both people in this exchange feel loving feelings. There's all this great stuff swirling around in them, which compels them towards the act of sex. And after it's gone, it completely vanishes. And like that, it was gone. It's nothing but a mirage. So what we're looking for, what we're yearning for deep in our heart is connection, truth, stuff that we can keep forever. We don't want disposable love. Love where you just feel it and then it disappears. That's what drives people to the brink of madness, is that type of fake love. And that's why we're experiencing isolation to such a large extent in this world. That's why so many people are suffering. And it's because we're trying to escape reality, even real people. We're looking at people, but we're not looking at them. We're looking at what they represent. We're not looking at their limitations. We're not looking at their emotional reality. We're not looking at all the fact that they poo and pee and have boogers and all this stuff doesn't exist when we're in fantasy land. So the more that you embrace fantasy and reject reality, the more you suffer. And the more that you reject fantasy and accept reality and work with it and grow it and make it better and be more comfortable with actual reality, then the more that you can actually keep and sustain lasting joy. I hope this was helpful. As always, if you have any questions, go to highnoon.org. Please subscribe and like, and I'll talk to you soon in the next video.